All right, today we're going to talk about a health tool that's so basic, so fundamental, that most of us just completely forget it exists. But what if I told you science says it could be the single most powerful and immediate way to manage your well being? Let's dive in.
I mean, that sounds a little crazy, right? 95% of us are breathing wrong. Breathing is literally the first and last thing we do in life. It's totally automatic. But here's the thing. Some researchers are claiming that the vast majority of us are just not doing it in a way that really optimizes our body and our brain.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? What if, by making just a tiny conscious change to something you do, like 20,000 times a day, you could get direct control over your stress levels? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, so to really get how this works, we have to understand that breathing, it isn't just about getting oxygen into your lungs. Think of it more like a direct, physical switch for your nervous system. A switch that lets you manually flip your body from a state of, high alert and stress to one of calm. So what's so cool about this is just how simple the whole mechanism is. I mean, just think of it like this. Your inhale, that's the gas pedal. It activates your fight or flight system, speeds your heart rate up, gets you energized. But your exhale, that's the brake. It activates your rest and digest system and slows everything right down. And this system, the parasympathetic system, this is the one we want to turn on when we're feeling stressed out. It's basically the body's biological calm mode. So when we intentionally make our exhales longer than our inhales, we're literally sending a direct message to our brain and our body that says, hey, it's safe, it's time to relax. Now, the effects of consciously using this built-in switch, they aren't just a feeling. Oh no, they are measurable, they're profound, and they are backed by some really fascinating research. So let's get into it and see just how powerful this can actually be. Okay, check this out. A big study from Stanford in 2023 put a few different techniques to the test. They had people practice for just 5 minutes a day. That's it, 5 minutes, for a whole month. And what they found was that these structured breathing exercises actually worked better than mindful meditation for reducing stress and boosting a positive mood. And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. You can see that while breathwork in general did better than meditation, just look at that last bar. Whoa. The group that used a specific long exhale technique called cyclic sighing saw the biggest improvement by far. And we're not just talking about mood here, but in deep physical relaxation, which they could actually measure with a slower breathing rate. And believe it or not, the benefits don't even stop there. Other studies have found that this kind of breath work can be just as effective as therapy for reducing PTSD symptoms in veterans. It's even being used to help chemotherapy patients manage their pain. And get this, some research even suggests it can improve your memory and reaction times. It's pretty incredible. Okay, but maybe one of the most stunning results, like for our physical health, is this one. By using a specific breathing technique for just 5 minutes a day over 6 weeks, participants saw an average drop of 9 points in their systolic blood pressure. 9 points! So to put that number in perspective, because 9 points might not sound like a lot, that drop is actually bigger than what you typically get from adding a 30-minute walk to your routine 5 times a week. And it's on par with the effect of some prescription blood pressure drugs. I mean, that is a huge deal. And it can even transform our sleep. There was this one study on at-risk kids, and they found that after teaching them these breathing techniques, the kids got, on average, an extra hour of sleep every night. And the craziest part, they weren't even trying to improve their sleep. It was just a side effect of being calmer and more regulated during the day. So all of this data is pointing to one very clear thing. Certain breathing patterns are just incredibly powerful. Which is great, right? So now let's get practical. Let's look at the exact technique that came out on top in that big Stanford study. It's called cyclic sighing. And listen to this. According to some scientists, a single one of these is the fastest known way to physiologically, not just psychologically, but physiologically, calm your nervous system down. It physically hits that brake pedal we were talking about earlier. Okay, so here's exactly how you do it. And you know what? Feel free to try one right now with me. First, take a deep breath in through your nose. Go on. Now, right at the top, when you feel like your lungs are full, take another short, sharp little inhale. Just a quick sniff. Then, just let it all go with a long, slow exhale through your mouth. It feels kind of like a sigh of relief, right? But it's a very deliberate one. So why does this work so ridiculously well? Well, that extra little inhale you take at the top, that's the secret sauce. What it does is it pops open these tiny little air sacs in your lungs. They're called alveoli that sometimes get collapsed. By doing that, you maximize the surface area inside your lungs, which lets you offload way more carbon dioxide when you exhale. And that sends a super powerful calming signal straight to your brain.
All right, so knowing the science and the technique is awesome, but it's only half the battle, right? Turning this into a real-world tool that you can actually use, that's the most important part. So let's do a quick recap on how to put this all into practice.
Okay, here are the big things to remember. First, your breath is a direct lever for your nervous system. Simple as that. Inhale for energy, exhale for calm. Second, just 5 minutes a day of something like cyclic sighing can make a real, measurable difference in your mood and your health. And maybe the best part of all, it's totally free. It's available to you literally anytime, anywhere, and it has pretty much zero risk. And hey, one more quick tip for just your general day-to-day breathing. Whenever you can, try to breathe through your nose instead of your mouth. Your nose is basically designed to be the perfect filter. It warms, moisturizes, and cleans the air, which helps protect you from infection and lets your lungs absorb oxygen way more efficiently. And that really brings us to our final thought. We're always searching for these complex, high-tech solutions for stress and our health. But isn't it worth asking, could the single most powerful tool for your well-being not be in some lab or in a prescription bottle, but the one thing that's been with you, right under your nose, every single moment of your entire life, just waiting for you to pay attention?